Danny from the Pleasant Hills Public Library, and I am so excited that you are here with me today for another edition of STEAM Stories. So before we get into today's experiment, do you remember what all the letters in STEAM stand for? Tricky, huh? S stands for science, T stands for technology, E stands for engineering, A stands for arts, and M stands for mathematics. And we will be using all 5 of those subject areas for today's experiment. So you might be wondering, what is today's experiment? Well, today we are going to make our own penny spinners, like this. Penny spinners are really cool. They're modeled after spin tops, which are one of the most old types of toys. And we're going to make ours using cardboard and paper and a penny, but maybe you've seen a spin top that's been made out of metal or plastic or wood. So how do spin tops work? What's the science behind it? Well, let's take a closer look while also looking at some photos and short video clips of things in motion. Spinning tops are toys that can be found around the world and have even been found in ancient archaeological sites. These toys are so old, no one really knows who invented the first one. It's possible that the first spinning top toy was no more than an acorn flicked into motion by a curious child thousands of years ago. Compared to modern toys, the spinning top may seem quite simple, but it actually uses some pretty advanced physics. When you spin a top into motion, you're applying a force that converts the toy's potential or stored energy into kinetic energy. Basically, you're creating the energy of motion. As the toy spins, it's rotating around an invisible vertical axis. The principle of conservation of angular momentum states that an object in motion will stay in motion unless an outside force acts upon it. In the case of our spinning tops, a combination of the forces of gravity and friction will eventually cause them to stop spinning. And as it begins to wobble, the axis tilts, which allows gravity to exert another force called torque. The effect of the torque creates additional spins, which causes the top to precess, or swing outward. This is why the wobbling gets worse right before it falls and comes to a stop. Most spinning tops use a thin needle-like object on one end to balance. While our penny spinners don't use that traditional axis, they do use the same scientific principles to work. It's amazing how such a simple toy can use such complicated scientific ideas to create hours of fun. We've packaged the supplies you'll need to do this experiment in a handy-dandy take-home kit that are available in our lobby while supplies last. Now, if you can't get our kit for whatever reason, pretty much all of the supplies are pretty basic, and I bet you'll be able to find them just looking around where you live. You're going to need a circle cut out of cardboard. We've also already cut the slit in the middle, but if you're doing it at home on your own piece of cardboard, you'll need to cut a little spot just about the size of a penny in the middle. 2 white circles of cardstock. You could also use regular paper for this, since the cardboard is stiff enough to hold its shape. And of course, you'll need a penny for a penny spinner. In addition to the supplies in our kit, you're also going to need some scissors, crayons, markers, or colored pencils, some glue, either liquid or a glue stick. And lastly, you'll need a flat surface. So let's head over to the craft table to learn how to make our very own penny spinners. We've provided you with 2 circles so that you can make your penny spinner double-sided. Or if you have extra cardboard and pennies lying around at home, you could make 2 penny spinners. You're going to start by decorating your white circle. You could draw a swirl, color blocks, lines, whatever you want. Keep in mind that whatever you draw when your penny spinner is spinning will be in motion and won't quite look the same. That's part of the cool part. I think I'm going to draw some swirls like this. Cool, huh? So next what you're going to do is take your paper and gently fold it in half. You don't want to make a crease. You just want to find where the center is. Use your scissors to make a small slit, like that. Now, the next part's a little tricky. You're going to take your penny, and in our cardboard circles that were provided in the kit, we already cut the slit for you. But as I said before, if you're using your own cardboard, you'll need to find the center and make a little slit. It's easiest to do that with an X-Acto knife, so get a grown-up's help. Don't try that by yourself. Take your penny, and you're going to wedge it into that slit. You want the penny to be in the middle, so you see some of it on top and some of it on bottom. Then take your paper circle, and that slit that you just made, put it over top of the penny. Now you can kind of adjust your penny as necessary so that it stays in the middle. Now, before we glue it down, let's give it a test. You're going to hold it with 1 or 2 fingers and then let go. Pretty cool, huh? All right, we know it works. So now we're going to take our glue. Ooh, that glue's a little messy. Happens with glue. And we're going to take the paper off and we're going to add just a little bit. Now, this step is really, it's optional, but it does help your paper stay in place. You don't want it flying off when it's spinning around and around and around, right? Especially if you're happy with your design. So I'm going to glue it down. Another thing you could do if you wanted to, I'm not going to do it today, but you could, is you'll notice that our circles don't perfectly align. If you've ever had to cut out 60 circles, you know that it's hard to keep them all straight. So, if you want to, you can take your paper and, take your scissors rather, and cut around to make it level. But again, that's optional. So now I have that glued down. Pretty cool. And it spins and it spins and it spins. So with my other circle, I could draw a different type of design. So I could flip my thing over, or like I said, you could make a second penny spinner. I already did swirls on this one. I think maybe for this one, I'll do color blocks. Ta-da! Just like before, take your paper, fold it gently in half, use your scissors to make a little slit, and then feed it over the penny on the other side. Now, if your slit's not quite big enough, it'll stretch as you push that penny through, and that's all right. And if it's a little, that one's a little lopsided, I'm going to flip it over. That's still lopsided. I think I like it better on this side. There we go. And then glue it in place. So getting your penny spinner to spin takes just a little bit of practice. You're going to have to find the way that works best for you. For me, I like to grab it with my 2 fingers and my thumb around the penny, hold it flat, and then flick my wrist. And then there it goes. Sometimes you can get it to go really fast, and sometimes it's slower. But either way, it makes really cool designs. If you're having any trouble with your penny staying in place, you can add a little bit of glue around the slit to hold it in place, but you don't want to add too much glue because it might offset the weight of your penny spinner. You could also, if you had a grown-up's help, hot glue it in place. But again, be careful to not overdo it. Looks pretty cool. Let's take a closer look at how the designs change when they're in motion. Well, friends, I hope you've enjoyed today's experiment. Penny spinners are pretty cool, and they're so easy to make. We would love to see pictures or videos of you doing this experiment. Please feel free to send them to us at pleasanthills@einetwork.net or post them to our special Facebook group, Pleasant Hills Library Virtual Programming. We'll be back in a couple weeks right before Thanksgiving with our next STEM experiment, water whistlers. So tune in then. Until then, friends, I hope to see you soon and that you stay safe. Bye.